Look, we're going to go back to a story I opened with this morning when I said that my person of the week, New Zealand of the week, is a woman called Ruth Tipu, who has been going into the Suter Art Gallery every day this week and picking up a New Zealand flag that is part of a piece of installation art there by a woman called Diane Prince, a well-known New Zealand activist artist. Part of this installation has a New Zealand flag with stenciled on it the words, "Please walk on me," lying on the floor. This woman, Ruth Tipu, has gone and picked up the flag and hung it over part of this installation art every day. She says it's disrespectful and she will keep doing it. We spoke to the Nelson Mayor, Nick Smith, about amalgamation of Nelson Tasman on Monday, I think it was, and he said, or was it Tuesday, and he said, look, I think that particular art installation at the Suter Gallery, not entirely funded by the council, that gallery, he said he doesn't like it, but art's art. One local body politician who's come out in support of the artwork is the Deputy Mayor of Nelson, Rohan O'Neill-Stevens, and he joins us on the line now. Rohan, welcome to the platform. Nice to have you with us.
Hey, Sean.
Well, look, if art's meant to engender engagement in public debate, this thing's humming, isn't it?
It's certainly sparked up a wide range of conversations. The community Facebook page is popping off.
All right. Where do you stand on it?
Look, for me, and the only reason I really got into this debate is because a colleague of mine stepped forth and demanded an apology from the suitor and the removal of the artwork. And fundamentally, to me, this is about freedom of expression. Is you don't have to like the artwork, you don't have to agree with it, but what we should be able to agree on is that the right is there to be able to have your say.
Yep. Do you realise it may also be illegal?
I've heard that debate and discussion. I mean, the case law that we have around sort of the treatment of the flag is pretty loose in terms of saying, look, if you're burning it as an act of protest, that is entirely legal. I think probably the biggest question in terms of the legality is writing on the flag. But is that something we really want? And
inviting other people to disrespect or desecrate the flag, I think, is also part of the law.
Yes, but if we've already got case law saying that you're allowed to burn it, I'm not sure that walking on it versus burning it is a significantly greater step of disrespect.
Okay. Clearly, some in Nelson are pretty upset. We've got this woman, Ruth Tipu, who is picking it up every day. I understand members of the RSA are pretty upset about it. So what do you say to members of the community who are, gosh, in the great words of the, of cancel culture, people who are offended by this?
Well, look, I think that you're totally within your rights to be offended by it. The point I'd make is that actually I think that's part of the point of the artwork, is there's an opportunity here to explore that offence and the feelings that, that sense of disrespect, how it's making you feel. I think it's the artist's invitation to reflect on how it's felt for her and many Māori to have legislation that undermines, the rights enshrined to them in Te Tiriti o Waitangi, the Treaty of Waitangi. Actually, if we can explore the feelings that this art evokes, maybe there's more room for connection here than there is for division and disagreement.
Okay. How much money does the Nelson Council spend on the suitor?
I don't have the figures off the top of my head, but it would be around $1 million a year.
That's still quite a chunk for a place like Nelson. You wouldn't want to spend $1 million offending everyone all the time, would you, Rohan?
No, and I mean, this has certainly been the first time in a long time that the suitors made it into national headlines. Look, I think it's one where there's been a lot of feedback. They're an independent institution.
They are.
Their board and the organisation will be able to reflect on that. But ultimately, I don't think it's up to us as politicians to say what art is or isn't allowed. And we've all got the right to challenge and be challenged in this country.
Would you take up the opportunity to walk on the flag?
Oh, I haven't yet. Look,
Well,
probably
no,
not,
would you?
if only...
Would you? Would you answer the call to walk on that flag?
I'd be open to it. Look, my political sensibilities are probably enough to not.
Hang on, you wouldn't do it, but just for political reasons. Otherwise, you'd be quite happy to walk on the New Zealand flag.
On a personal level, I actually think it would be interesting to know how it feels to explore that. But it's not something I'm interested inherently in doing.
But you think it might be interesting?
Oh, I'm sure any new experience is interesting.
You know, there are a lot of new experiences that I wouldn't choose to experience because they were necessarily new, Rohan. I just want to ask too, the feedback.
I'm sure.
Yeah. But you're basically telling me you would walk on the flag.
Oh, I haven't. I've been into the exhibition. I didn't decide to step on it.
Okay.
Then,
all right.
But,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. I get it. That's good. Well, I think it's good, but that's just my opinion. When you say there's been plenty of feedback, have you got feedback, and have you got feedback to your positioning on this personally?
Yes. Yep. Plenty of feedback. Always the way for local politicians when things hit the national news is you suddenly get a solid influx of anonymous texts. But again, I think this just highlights the ongoing conversations in this country is that it's been a massive mix of a lot of support of saying, totally agree, even if from people who don't agree with the art itself, saying, look, freedom of expression is the important thing here. And a lot of people saying, this is a fundamental insult and shouldn't be allowed. There's a range of opinions in the community, and I actually think being able to have that discussion is a healthy thing.
I hear you.